Before we start, we are going to watch a quick intro video from the county executive, after which we will go into some housekeeping before we have our speakers.
Hello, I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Welcome to the second of our virtual public hearings on the discussions before our task force that we've created on police reform and reinvention. We've had a session occurred last week, and then tonight we're doing something a little bit differently. We have a virtual public hearing, which is what we're part of here, but as well we have 5 locations across Westchester County where there will be in-person testimony delivered. And for those of you who may be watching in one of those locations, we have groups of people at the Riverfront Library in downtown Yonkers. We are at the City Council Chamber in the New Rochelle City Hall on North Avenue. We have a group that is with us at the Field Library in Peekskill. We also have a group that's here in White Plains at the Quaropus offices, Board of Elections conference room, and then also at the Mount Kisco Library. So from each of those different locations, as well as from the virtual community that we have, we intend to get additional public comment, which will be of value to the members of the task force. We're very fortunate that Mayo Bartlett and Leroy Frazier have agreed to co-chair the task force. They are both lawyers by profession. They both served as assistant district attorneys in the past, and with a variety of experiences in the area of law enforcement. And we have a very diverse group of people on this force, including our Commissioner of Public Safety, Tom Gleason, the Deputy Commissioner, Terrence Rayner, and we have other members of the law enforcement community, the clergy, the activist corps. We have 2 members of the county legislature that are with us, the Honorable Terry Clements of New Rochelle and the Honorable Colin Smith of Peekskill. And we're very glad that you're with us again to give your ideas and your testimony, all of which will be part of a report by the end of the year that will be delivered to my office as well as to the Board of Legislators for their discussion and debate, and then ultimately to be submitted to Albany, to the state government. Thank you very much for being a part of tonight, and we welcome your opinions.
So thank you everybody for coming tonight. Before we start, just a couple quick housekeeping items. First and foremost, obviously, because of COVID, everybody must be wearing a mask. I see everybody is doing an excellent job. If anybody needs a mask, there's PPE that is located just outside the door, along with any hand sanitizers that anybody would want or need. Restrooms just down the hall and around on the side. Just basically go down the hall, make a left, and it should be right there. Everybody should silence their phones as we move forward so we're not interrupting any speakers. As I said before, my name is Andrew Ferris. During the day, I'm the Chief of Staff to the County Executive. I'm filling in tonight as the moderator for this event. To my left, we have our task force members, Chandra Floyd McCleary, Karina Patino, and we also have Chief Padilla with us as well. Elected officials who are with us tonight, we have the Honorable Mayor Gina Picnich with us tonight, and we also, not an elected official, but we do have the County Attorney John Nona with us tonight as well. As we go into speaking, all speakers will have 3 minutes to speak. We have Chloe, who will be our timekeeper. We're going to keep it to 3 minutes. We obviously, while we don't have a wide array of speakers here tonight, we do want to keep everybody to 3 minutes. Chloe has a 30-second warning on her folder, and then she also has a stop on her folder as well. We encourage the speakers to keep their masks on when they're speaking. We do have a microphone. Hopefully, as I'm speaking through my mask, you can hear me even with the microphone, so it should be the same over there as well. Once you have finished speaking, while we'd love to have you, just because to make sure that we have safe social distancing, we would encourage folks to head on out. It's nothing personal, it's just making sure that we are socially distanced appropriately. And if anybody has brought a copy of their remarks or any written testimony, there is a green folder right over there, and we'd ask you to leave it in that folder for us so we can review it at a later time as well. The task force will continue to accept written comments until Friday, August 21st. Comments can be sent via email to policereformtf@westchestergov.com. There's also some copies of that email address out on the table as well next to the sign-in sheet if anybody wants them. All meetings will be recorded and available to the public in the county's YouTube channel. That's John, who's doing our recording right now. Mike is dealing with the audio. Give it about a week, give or take, just for it to pop up, just because we have a couple of them, as the county executive said before, going on tonight. We have a number of forms going on throughout the county. If anybody in the audience wants to speak and hasn't been registered ahead of time, just go on out there. There should be a sign-in sheet specifically for speaking. I'm sure everybody signed in before they came in. Unfortunately, there's another sheet you guys got to write on just so we have you as a speaker, at which point in time I will get a index card with your name on it, and I will call you up in order to speak. Again, just quick reminder and a quick plug on a separate topic. Census 2020 is still going, and we would encourage everybody to take part as we go forward so that everybody in Westchester can be counted. So with all that being said, we are going to call our first two speakers. I'm not sure if they are here yet, but if any, as I said before, if after I call these speakers, if they are not here and anybody else would like to speak, again, just come on up, or excuse me, go see our friends outside at the table, sign in, I'll get your name, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, our first speaker is Chris Huguenot, and followed by Anne Marie Fallon. And if neither are here and anybody would like to speak, Anne Marie's here, okay. And after Anne Marie, if Chris is not here, if anybody would be interested in speaking, again, like I said, sign up outside and we'll go from there.
Good evening. This is on, I take it. We do not live in a perfect world. Mistakes and misjudgments are commonplace. In law enforcement, when a mistake or misjudgment involves that of a police officer, the ramifications can be catastrophic for the police officer, the civilian, the community, and beyond. We expect absolute perfection in the actions of the law enforcement officer, which is not a realistic view. In their profession, a misperception can lead to a potentially fatal outcome to an individual or to the police officer themselves. There is an insistence that police officers be perfect, almost robotic. Send them for training, and then more training, and more regulations, hoping they will somehow become robotic. In this situation, I must do this. In this situation, I must do that. And in this situation, I will do this. Do we want a police officer to be less than human? I think not. Police officers, law enforcement, are required to wear numerous hats. Among them, they enforce the law, console a lost child or a confused adult, rescue someone from a burning car or even from the lake after the ice is broken. They're a mediator in heated disputes, particularly in domestic disputes. They deal with EDPs, emotionally disturbed individuals, who many times are violent. Amidst all of the horrors on the streets of our cities, you cannot have the police hidden behind glass, like a fire alarm. Break the glass only in the event of crime and violence. Growing up in the Bronx, I knew when I saw a police officer, or if a police officer spoke to me, to be respectful, not because I did not fear them, they were authority figures. I knew if I needed help, that is who I was going to call, and they would respond. I grew up in a community that showed respect to others, which included the police. A failure of respect, not just to police officers, but to others, is a major factor in what society has become and what police must deal with that is beyond their control. Community must take responsibility for actions within it and not retreat and expect the police to come in and clean it up in an emergency fix. In today's world of capturing everything on a cell phone video, what absolutely galls me is when a cell phone footage shows an individual being assaulted or the assault of a police officer, rather than stopping and helping, they rather show it online. It's easy for those in Albany and other legislative venues to dictate reforms and issue more law and regulation. You cannot dictate police reform or changes in the mindset of officers. It must come from them. I have 30 seconds more. I read too slow in the beginning.
If I
You want me to sit down and then get called again and finish? Thank you.
Okay. Next up is Chris Huguenot. And we can also have you leave your written testimony as well. That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what print it is.
Good evening. Sorry, I was trying to get my thoughts together. Thank you to Ms. Sanchez-Bear, who forwarded the link, and I read it, the whole thing. So I think a lot of my initial comments that I had, I have changed. And so I guess here's my perspective in terms of not just action, but function. My count is 39 police departments in Westchester County. I don't know if the White Plains Department of Public Safety, is that the name of their police department? So then you've got 40. And then the Westchester County Public Safety. So reading through the guidelines and recommendations, I guess one of my issues is in terms of how to execute a comprehensive plan and cohesive plan throughout Westchester County. A lot of your small police departments and smaller municipalities depend on volunteer services like fire, ambulance, and was wondering how the county was going to consider incorporating that into a procedure. Was wondering if there would be an opportunity or a conversation countywide, maybe developing some kind of BOCES type of consortium, like where it's streamlined services, so not every police department has to have every single committee. Maybe work in logistics where a couple of police departments can get together. So the cost to the taxpayers and just for the community, for it to be a little bit more cohesive. Because some of the police forces, like I'm part of Mount Pleasant, they encompass, I think, 9 different school districts. So if you want to do any kind of community outreach to the kids, your tentacles are in a lot of places. And I know a lot of times the police outreach is where the kids go to school, but when they come home, they're looking at police departments that they don't have any connection to. Also was thinking, kind of as I was driving up, there's not a lot of talk about computer and fraud and because that's a whole nother huge crime piece that isn't really identity theft, hasn't been covered in this packet. And I also see that's another way for the future. Was thinking that maybe, because I was having a conversation with my daughter and her 2 grandkids. Oh, sorry.
So, Chris, if you want to, we're just going to let Anne Marie finish her thought real quick, and then if you want to come back up and finish your thought.
Yeah, if you don't mind, thank you.
You sure? Okay. Chris, if you can just finish your thought real quick, and then whatever
Sure.
you have written,
Sorry,
we're happy to take as testimony.
No, that's fine. We were having a conversation now with homeschooling the kids, and in terms of what parents have resources to take care of their kids in the afternoon and some don't. So we were talking about the divide between the people who can and the people who are trying, and it's just so much more difficult. I thought maybe there could be some kind of, maybe through the PALs or something, where there could be some community outreach through that as a vehicle for some kids who, working parents, they have, nowhere to go some kind of community outreach. Start the conversation, maybe the dialogue, and maybe some programs now. Give these kids some place to go. Give parents some kind of relief, and develop the relationships as the children are younger. So just a couple ideas.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time.
No, thank you. If you have any written testimony, again, just leave it right in the green folder on the table right in front of you, and we're happy to have that. Okay, Anne Marie, if you want to just finish your...
Okay, I won't rush through the part that I was rushing through. Okay. In today's world of capturing everything on a cell phone, what absolutely galls me is when a cell phone footage is taken of an individual being assaulted or the assault of a police officer, and rather than stopping and intervening or calling for help, they put their camera up to capture it so they can share it online. Throwing Molotov cocktails, garbage bricks at a police officer while they're mugging for the camera is truly something to be proud of. Notice the sarcasm under here. Does anyone understand personal responsibility? You control your actions. You can be a hero or a zero. It is up to you to make that decision. A huge impediment with the policing is the policing of those who demonstrate no personal responsibility and who show no respect for themselves and others. This must change if real change is to occur. It's easy for those in Albany and other legislative venues to dictate reforms and issue more laws and regulations. You can't dictate police reform or changes in the mindset of officers. It must come from them because they are the ones putting their lives on the line every day. If change is forced upon them, they will either reject it, ignore it, or you will lose cops who wish no longer to jeopardize their lives for an ungrateful community. There are individuals who should not become police officers, some who have been burnt out from their job. Those individuals should be removed from the force as you would with any profession when their competency and judgment come under question, similar of that of a teacher or a medical professional. Those standards for review and removal are done by the profession that governs their members. Protection should not be guaranteed simply because they hold a badge. The process must be fair to all, the police officer and the community. We need the police to keep order, to keep predators from preying on the vulnerable of our society. The police are present to see that my rights as an American are not infringed upon. The police are the only ones who can implement change in policing. The community must also implement change in its behavior and its role in living in a free and safe society. What happens on the street is not something to be romanticized. It is real and sometimes ugly, disgusting, and heartbreaking. I ask you, where that activist will be when you are staring down the barrel of a gun held by a 13-year-old. You will see your life flash before your eyes, and you're going to pray that there is a police officer nearby to respond. These are life and death situations police officers are put in every day. They must react in seconds to what the media and the public get hours, days, and months to scrutinize, reconstruct, and debate. I ask you, if you are looking down the barrel of a gun, who are you going to be concerned about? The individual pointing the gun? Because at that point, once they raise the gun, they're prepared to fire it. Or the family you said goodbye to earlier and hope to tuck in after your shift is over. Police officers are human too. Thank you.
Thank you. We have completed the list of people who have signed up to speak at this time. If anybody else would like to speak, by all means, shoot right outside and sign up, and we'll go from there. If there is nobody else, we are going to take a break until someone is ready to speak. During that break, I would just advise everybody that the camera will be on, as well as the mics, so nobody should be caught on a hot mic or do anything in front of the camera. But I just want to give everybody the heads up, and we'll go from there. So if there's nobody at this time, we will take a break until somebody is ready to speak. No? Okay, so we're going to take a break then.